Hey guys, I'm Senti Reads, and as you can see by the video title, today I'll be covering some of Amberlynn's recent Snapchat Q&A. It got pretty unhinged. She got messy and spilled a lot of random tea, but as per usual, I'll be focusing on her writing. There are plenty of other places for you to find the full receipts of what she said. Speaking of receipts, I don't have them for everything I'll be talking about. Everything I do have will be shown on screen. I didn't originally intend on making a video, and because she posted this all on Snapchat, I can't go back and grab screenshots. So most of what I have came from one of the various subreddits. Anyway, let's see what Amber has to say about her writing. Okay, so this one comes from Instagram, but I wanted to start with this post to show how much she romanticizes writing, especially poetry, except she'd never use a typewriter because she writes all her poems on her phone. At the very least, she could write them down in one of her numerous journals. If you've watched my previous video about why Amberlynn will never publish a poetry book, then you'll know she's written some really strange lines in her poems, and here she is defending a real gem she came up with. Rolling dice like knives on a platter. How do you roll a knife on a platter? Metaphor, a figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable. Amberlynn, Google Scholar. I'm a writer myself, but I'm not a poetry expert, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not actually sure if this is a metaphor. Here are some examples of metaphors so you can see why I'm a little confused. She is fishing for compliments. She has been living in a bubble. Rolling through Walmart like waves coming in with the tide. Rolling dice like knives on a platter. Okay, so maybe it is a metaphor. Regardless, it doesn't make sense, and it's not a good line. But here's Amberlynn defending it some more because she can't help herself. Let's start gambling our life, rolling dice like knives on a platter. What does that even mean? Ho 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 ho. Platters are designed for food after they've been cut with a knife. Examples, cheese, salami, etc. Okay, Google Scholar Amberlynn. A platter is actually just simply a serving dish. It has nothing to do with food that specifically has been cut with a knife, so okay, weird. Knives can be dangerous. Knives can be dangerous? No shit, Sherlock. I'm not really getting any kind of danger from this line or this poem, though, so I'm not seeing her point. Rolling dice, like in gambling, is all about luck. Does Amberlynn know anything about gambling? I bet she can't name a single dice game. The only one I can think of is craps, which I can see why she didn't try to incorporate that. Rolling dice like in craps doesn't really have the same ring to it. Anyway, I wouldn't really say that rolling dice is about luck. The outcome of the roll is important, but not the action of rolling itself. I know that sounds pedantic, but poetry is all about precise word choice. So the words in a poem are meant to be used very purposefully, and I don't see that here with Amberlynn's work. This sentence is saying how life is a gamble, and sometimes the gamble can be dangerous. Okay, what? Life is a gamble? What the fuck does that mean? Being alive is a gamble? We have to make choices that are like gambles? Being born at all was a gamble? Her explanation isn't actually explaining anything. I don't know what she means. Her saying that gambles can be dangerous leads me to believe she's talking about making choices. Like making a choice is a gamble because you don't know if you're making the right choice. But that to me sounds more like a coin flip than a dice roll. But whatever, I'm not a poet. Pretty much saying, good luck, you're gonna need it. You're about to make a dangerous choice by picking up that dice. First of all, Grammarlyn, dice is plural. I think what you mean is picking up that die, singular. But anyway, it sounds like she is talking about making some kind of choice. And sure, making a choice can potentially have a bad outcome, so it may feel like a gamble. But if you don't pick up the die, whatever, then there is no game. Anyway, I still don't understand what the hell Amberlynn means by this. I tried to interpret it my way, but it's really hard to figure out what the fuck she's talking about, and her explanation does not make sense, but whatever, moving on. Rain and Petals Eavesdrop is actually some extremely talented writing. That's really beautiful, Amberlynn. I think if people understood it more, they wouldn't mock it. First of all, I'm not really going to get into the Rain and Petals situation. That's not my place to say who is right, who is wrong. I was not there. But anyway, I wanted to include this snap to show how delusional the Ambabies are, because extremely talented writing? Excuse me? I know art and poetry is subjective, but nobody on this earth can convince me that these poems are good. I'm sorry, that's harsh, but there was another screenshot I lost, but somebody told Amberlynn that her Rain and Petals Eavesdrop line is transcendental. What the fuck? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That has to be a troll. Amberlynn, if you happen to be watching this, I know you've been watching reaction channels recently. I'm not sorry for being harsh. Please feel free to send me some of your recent work, and I will gladly eat my words if it's good. Just, people are kissing your ass too much on this writing stuff, and it is doing you no favors, girl. Speaking of recent work, luckily Amber posted a recent poem of hers just a few snaps later. Give us a sample of your writing. Cursive. All my poems are the same. Loneliness written in a million different ways. Amberlynn. So I know this short form poetry is a specific style, but to me it reads more like a slogan or a saying or something to put on a mug or a t-shirt. I think this is popular on Instagram, this kind of short form style. It's not for me. Poetry's not for me. But as a poem, I don't think it's terrible, but that's easy to say because there's nothing really here. It's like 2 sentences. I know it's split into 3 lines, but it's like 2 sentences if you actually put punctuation in, which there is no punctuation. Anyway, I can't place it, but written in a million different ways, that specific phrase, it feels like a cliche that I've seen somewhere before. Again, I don't know where I've seen it, but I don't know, this doesn't sound original. Girl, your writing has improved so much, OMG! It's greatly appreciated, kissy face. And I oop. These babies be out here wildin'. I don't think a 3-line, 2-line, whatever, poem with no punctuation is enough to judge if Amber has improved or not, but Amber certainly thinks she has. How would you rate your poetry on a scale of 1 to 10? When I was a teenager, 4. When I was a young adult, 18 to 25, 6. Ages 26 to 29, 6.5. Now, 7.5. So, you mean to tell me she thinks her writing is only a 7.5, but she wants to publish a poetry book? Really? I only want to read something that the author thinks is a 10 out of 10. I want them to really be proud of their work. I want them to pour their heart and soul into it and really make it the best it could possibly be. I'm not trying to spend my hard-earned money on poetry, any kind of book, or any kind of collection that the creator thinks is only a 7.5. But does anyone really believe that Amber only thinks her writing is a 7.5? She defended that stupid knife platter line to the absolute death instead of accepting any criticism. Same goes for Rain and Petals. She is constantly defending that one. And she gets defensive when anyone doesn't like her writing. Like, she's angry that we can't all see her genius. Okay, so I don't use Snapchat a lot, so I really don't know what the fuck this is. But she's grading her poetry, and she says, it is currently a B-. It needs improvement, but I'm not horrible at it. It's interesting to see that Amberlynn says something needs improvement after she's said multiple times that she doesn't edit her writing, that her first draft is her final draft. So it's weird to me that she would admit that improvement can happen, but she's not willing to improve her previous work. And I think if she spent more time refining her previous work instead of just pumping out new stuff, then she might actually improve. As long as she continues to not edit her work, she's never going to get above a 5 out of 10 in my opinion. Moving away from poetry, let's check out what she has to say about her novels. Will you ever finish Scotty and Hello Darling? Ha ha ha, no. Like I said, written when I was 17. I write about completely different things now in a whole different writing style. What I'm trying to say is that I've grown the fuck up. I'm 31. I don't have the receipt for what I'm about to talk about, but someone pointed out that Scotty and Hello Darling were posted on Wattpad in 2017, which would have made Amber 24 or 25. This was another Snapchat Q&A. And Amber responds to that and says that's true, that she did type her handwritten stories to upload to Wattpad in 2017 to share with a friend rather than mailing the papers to them, like the original handwritten papers. And I do remember her saying this before, not specifically the stuff about mailing stuff to a friend, but that she had typed it up years after the fact to share with someone. And I think I've pointed out myself in my reviews of Scotty and Hello Darling that I don't think that's true. In Scotty, 2 characters named Becky and Amber partner up for a group project, and Amber wouldn't have known Becky when she was 17. That could be a total coincidence, or Amber could have edited that in as she typed up her old story. But remember, Amber doesn't edit. And if she would change a detail like that while she was typing up the story, why didn't she change any of the typos or the sentences that don't make any sense, or do any editing at all? Who is this mysterious friend that she's talking about? Amber is constantly mentioning some kind of random friend whenever the narrative requires it. Like that time she put hair conditioner on her face as lotion, or face cleanser as lotion, whatever the fuck she did that she's like, oh, my friend told me to do this. Who are all these mysterious random friends that Amber just pulls out of her ass whenever she doesn't want to take the blame for something? Okay, guys, prepare yourself for this one because I was fully not ready. How do you feel about BDSM? It definitely interests me. I'm writing a novel that is plotted around that topic. Y'all, we're getting 50 Shades of Orange chicken. It looks like Amber's idea of growing the fuck up means moving away from writing young adult romance to writing erotica, specifically BDSM erotica, which I can't imagine how it's going to turn out considering how naive Amber is when it comes to sex. All of a sudden, she's acting super hypersexual like she did back in the Destiny era, and it feels like a teenager bragging more than a 30-year-old woman who's just living her life and expressing her sexuality. It's all a little too much for my tastes. So I'm very interested to see what Amberlynn's idea of erotica is. Anyway, moving on. I'll insert the clip here if I can find it, but in a live stream, Amber mentioned that she was working on another novel. She said it reached over 200k words, and she was done telling that particular story and was now just writing about the characters' lives. Surely that has to be a different novel from whatever this BDSM thing she's mentioning is. Like, honestly, nobody needs 200k words of whatever Amber thinks sex is. Speaking of word counts, an average erotica novel is about 57k words, and contemporary romance, which is what I'd say Scotty and Hello Darling is, ranges from like 60 to 80k or so, roundabouts. It's a pretty wide margin. Amberlynn's writing is way, way too long if she managed to reach 200k words, and she even admitted the plot was over, so it's abundantly clear that she's still not editing her work. Side note that I also don't have a receipt for. This is not one of her Snapchat rants. This was something I saw that she made somewhere else, like Tumblr or Instagram, some kind of comment she said to someone. But Amberlynn said that she writes literary fiction, and her reasoning was because her work is character-based. Girl, what? What? She writes literary fiction? What? No. So literary fiction isn't just about character over plot, like Amberlynn seems to think. Some common examples of literary fiction are The Great Gatsby, Brave New World, Life of Pi, stuff like that. If you remember anything from English class, those books are rich with symbolism, style, a focus on themes. They're sometimes surreal. It's very metaphorical. It's like artsy shit. It's way more than just being about characters instead of plot. Amberlynn writes genre fiction, specifically romance, and that's totally fine. I write genre fiction. I write thriller. Most authors today write genre fiction. It's fine. Amberlynn, you do not write literary fiction, and even if you did write literary fiction, that doesn't make you some kind of fancy girl. You're just a regular girl. I'm sorry, girl. Anyway, that's enough ranting from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back if Amberlynn ever puts out that BDSM novel of hers. See you later!